I think that, narcissistic traits and personalities are in everyday church life, everyday temple life. I think anywhere where there's a position of power, there's a natural attraction for people who have narcissistic traits. So talk about some of the religious narcissism that you've seen in your research and your clinical experience.
Yeah, so religious narcissism often comes up, it falls under this sort of bucket of narcissism called communal narcissism. These are people who have all the bells and whistles of narcissism, low empathy or variable empathy or and entitlement, arrogance, validation seeking, all the stuff, the egocentricity, the selfishness. But the way communal narcissistic people get their validation is by doing what's perceived to be good things, like, being very involved in a religious or spiritual system, devoting themselves to prayer, devoting themselves to God. And people see that as very pious. And then there's a different form of narcissism called self-righteous narcissism, which is what back in the day we used to call an anancastic style, which is this very sort of morally rigid, judgmental, punitive style. So that could be sort of a fire and brimstone approach. And my way is the right way. And people in communities will say, look how straight and narrow they live their life. But what they miss out on is how rejecting someone like that can be of anyone who wavers from that path. So when you put those two types together, especially the communal types and the self-righteous types, you will see that in religious spaces where there's money floating around, there's power floating around, and it's a way to get validation, right? You've got the people who follow you, the people who come in to see you. You become a leader within that community, and you get your validation from everyone saying they're so holy, they're so pious, they're so devoted. And if a person's narcissistic in that space, that then becomes the setup for them to use that group to get validation. But the people closest to them, family members, close associates, friends, people who they're working with behind closed doors, are often just as abused as someone with any other narcissistic relationship. And those people who are abused often feel they have nowhere to turn because everyone's viewing this person as a living saint. And so this is where, for example, if we look at your average cult leader, you're usually seeing a communal malignant narcissist. So this is somebody who's willing to take advantage of other people, use other people, isolate other people, but also get their validation from spouting off whatever spiritual hooey they're spouting off.